Proverb Cleanse. Yes, we're doing that. This is going to be so cool. 31 days in July, 31 Proverbs. We're going to read one proverb a day. I'm challenging you to journey with me to read one proverb a day and see if we can glean just a little bit of wisdom out of each one of these chapters in Proverbs. So when you look out into the world, we just see foolishness everywhere. Families falling apart, kids off the chain, senseless violence, political parties unable to work together in an effective way to really bring change into our communities and nation. And I mean, the list goes on and on. You just see all this wild stuff going on. And, I really started really picking up on this. I was listening to a pastor, and he said, man, and this is a pastor of a church over 2,000 people. He said that they were just overwhelmed with counseling. And I mean, just wore out to the point of just complete burnout, the whole staff. And they said they just started to go through the book of Proverbs, not like an exegetical study, nothing really extensive, just read through the Proverbs. And he said that in a very short, I can't remember how long, but in a very short time, the request for counseling was reduced by over 50%. So just getting the wisdom out of the book of Proverbs, just reading it, just killed a whole lot of foolishness that was going on. And so that's where this was kind of spawned from, and looking at all of the needs in our community and in our lives. I know I need some wisdom. You probably need some wisdom. It might be in your family. It might be with your children or for your children. It might be in your workplace, or you may be working in your community. And we just need wisdom to be able to accomplish things that we probably never even knew that this kind of wisdom could deeply impact. So day one, what we'll do is we'll read one chapter and just come see if we get a little bit out of it, and see how we can apply that to our lives. That's what we're going to do. So the proverb the verses that I'm reading from are starting at verse 20. It's chapter 1, of course. This is day 1. And here's how it reads. It says, wisdom cries without. She uttered her voice in the streets. And she crieth in the chief place of the concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. And so as I just pondered over this, I read through the whole chapter. I actually read it maybe 2 or 3 times and then listened to it on audio. And this is what kept coming out. Just, man, we out here, a lot of us out here, and we see all this foolishness. And why do we think of solutions? Why do we think of what to do? Why do we see these things as foolish? It's because wisdom is crying out, saying, this is not right. This is foolish. And we see it all over the place. And it's a blessing that wisdom comes to mind, that something needs to be different, or I don't need to do that, or they don't need to do that. But so how does it address that? Why is this even happening? And this is what really got my attention. It says, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. And when I thought about this, it's like, this is a problem. Too many of us, and I'm only speaking for our nation, and I can speak more specifically about my community, too many of us are loving simplicity. And when I say simplicity, we are looking at some of the simplest things that we can possibly see when we're looking at our Facebook scrolling and our Twitter feeds and these TikTok videos and all of this kind of stuff. It's a lot of just simplicity on there. And frankly, just a lot of foolishness. We see a lot of people just hating on each other and belittling each other and degrading each other. And I mean, our children are having to deal with this when they go to school. I mean, if you got a hair out of place or sleep in your eye or stain on your pants or your shoes a little old, and I mean, you can't take the risk of having a hair out of place for our kids. They gonna roast you, and that's a hard world to live in. And it's foolishness that breeds even more foolishness. Kids get angry and they start fighting, and look at all of the violence that we're dealing with in our communities and really even across our nation. All this senseless violence. And it's this cancel culture. I mean, have you paid attention to all the videos and the feeds that are just filled with people scathing each other? I mean, just railing each other. And can't wait till you do something wrong. They're going to roast you. They're going to cancel you. You say the wrong thing. And, all of this kind of stuff. It is foolishness. And he says the scorners delight in their scorning. So we passing these videos around. Look how he slapped her, or she got pushed down, and, all of the buddy end of jokes and all of this kind of stuff. That's just pure foolishness. And then when you put some good knowledge out there for people, like, people just don't even want to hear it. He said they hate knowledge. Fools hate knowledge. And this is not the kind of hate where he's saying, you can't look at funny things, because I got my TV shows and stuff like that I like to watch and all of that. I'm not condemning, if you're watching a funny show or something like that. But it's the same thing like what Jesus said, if you don't hate your father, your brother, your mother, and all of this kind of stuff more than me, even your own life, right? He's not saying you're supposed to hate yourself. What he's saying is if you place anything above. And so how do we measure that? We measure that by saying, man, am I putting more time into these stupid, dumb, degrading videos that's canceling and hating and belittling people than I am in just trying to get some wisdom from God? Am I putting more time in all of these TV shows? Am I binging more on Netflix than I'm binging in the Lord? And this is what he's saying. He's saying you can't place that above knowledge. And he's not just talking about knowing things. He's talking about the knowledge of God. Well, look at what he says if we do. He says if we hearing this, because I'm hearing this too, and I have to check my own self and question my own self. Where am I spending my time and what am I spending my time on, right? He says, if you turn, he says, I will pour out my spirit unto you, and I will make known my words unto you. For what words? The words of knowledge, words of wisdom, words that correct, words that direct, words that comfort, words that show us the way in a world that's bathing, baptized in foolish activity. So I hope that makes a little difference for you. I'm trusting that you will take this journey with me. We're talking about just 31 days. And I'd love to know, even if you just tune in and check this out, at the end of 31 days, how did all of the wisdom from Proverbs affect your life? And I'd love for you to take the time, either drop a note in the comments. Look for me every morning for 31 days at 7 a.m. for 10 minutes, just like I'm doing right now, to see, hey, what kind of wisdom can we glean from Proverbs to clean up? Maybe it's our life, or maybe to help somebody else clean up their life, help us clean up a relationship, help us clean up a job relationship, or whatever. Wisdom, a little dab will do you. And when it's coming from God, it's going to do you good. So, hey, until tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., July the 2nd, God bless you. Peace.